Feroze, such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. The pleasure is all mine.
A very relevant topic. I think it is required by all of us. SAP doesn't need any introduction, and you work for a great company. AI is all over us, and we are all immersing ourselves into AI. But somewhere I think we have to figure out, beyond technology, what is it we're actually trying to build?
Yeah.
And what is its impact going to be on all of us?
Yeah.
Right? It's not just us from the business perspective and the entrepreneurship perspective, but what businesses build has a huge impact on humanity, right? And the future generations.
Yeah.
So if you want to have sanity and care and level-headedness amongst people, we have to, from the get-go, understand how we're going to build this technology to have that positive impact on people.
Yeah.
And that is the sweet spot for you, and I want to learn from you.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. My take on AI is eventually every technology is a reflection of the humans who built it. And so I always kind of roll backwards and say, if humans are morally grounded, if the engineers are grounded on strong moral values, the truth is engineers have the maximum agency across any profession today in the world. If you look at the wealthiest people, they're all engineers. So engineers have massive amount of power and agency to make the world and decide what the future looks like. And so if engineers are not grounded on strong moral values, if engineers are not grounded on ethical values, I think we'll end up building technologies which will be harmful for all of us. And that's what I said in today's talk, that we are not exempted from the consequences of what we build, even if we don't exist, because our children's will. And I think we have to be very aware of the unintended consequences of technology. I don't believe people are mean. I don't believe that people are ill-intentional. But I think we have to design technology for better outcomes. We have to design technology to be aware of the unintended consequences of what we build. And we have to be really at the ground level, we have to be honest and truthful to ourselves. Not just to the world, but to ourselves. If you keep those design principles in mind, I think you'll build better products and technologies.
Well said. So then I think bigger companies have, I feel, rightly or wrongly, they're more responsible because they have more cloud, more power to reach out to the broader ecosystem. So if I look at the top down, SAP is obviously a big company. What are some of the initiatives that you guys are taking to make sure that this is kind of percolated down to the lowest level?
Very good question. I strongly believe that every problem is a leadership problem. And that's just the nature of it. And I'm very proud that I work for SAP, who asked me to build the SAP Academy for Engineering, which is the next generation of engineers. And in the curriculum, we do have a technology stack, but we also have the humanities stack, which is very rare. Very few companies are talking about humanities when they talk about technology. And we are talking about humanities because the word humanities has human in it. Right? So how is it that we've forgotten about humanities completely? And I think if we cater to people's deep intentions and what actually means to them, I think we'll not just be better engineers, we'll be better human beings. As I said, STEM is a toolbox. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics has become a toolbox. It has become the literacy of the 21st century. Anybody who knows STEM is literate. But anybody who knows STEAM with an A right in the middle, which is arts, I think will be the biggest differentiator.
And that brings another good question, is you and I come from India, and we see the influence of Indians here.
Yeah.
And when we were growing up, it was mostly rote learning, competitive exams and all that. The A factor wasn't given any credence at all,
Absolutely.
Right? But it is kind of getting into it now. My kids go to school here, I see the difference. No matter how much Indianness we try to inculcate in them, they are still American kids. And I see the difference between my nieces and nephews in India and the other kids growing up here. So you talked about the arts part of the STEAM thing. I think that is where also we need to lay emphasis that if they focus, they're not going to go hungry.
Yeah.
That is the fear for it.
No, it's a very good question. Again, there are a lot of uncertainties in the world we live in. I'm not saying arts is important just by itself. The first question people ask is, if I study arts, will it create a livelihood? I don't know the answer to that. So I understand the fear of a lot of people as to will it create jobs. But let me tell you the same thing, that engineers are going to ask the same question. Today, do you need 10 developers to do coding, or most of it can be done by one, right? So I think the same consequences are valid even if you're doing engineering. It's the same question. Right? Do you need so many developers? I don't know. Jensen Huang was here last year and he said, everybody is a developer. So then what are you different from, right? So I think we also have to be aware that the same fear and insecurities apply for everybody in every profession. So we are not exempted from that. The reason I say arts and humanities and psychology and sociology are so important is because you are able to study what is uniquely human. We're not, as I said, most of what AI does is now literally a black box. Nobody even knows what is happening behind it. But what is happening inside, the inner engineering part, is, I think, going to be super important. I must confess, I don't know. As I said in my speech, I'm confused most of the times. We don't know what the future would look like. But I think we can decide what kind of world we want to live in, right? Each of us can make that decision, what kind of future we want to live in. So that's what I was trying to convey to people.
Absolutely. And lastly then, again, I'm coming back to, it starts from middle schools.
Yes.
And the reason I'm emphasizing again on this question is because it's very important to have our next generation understand the responsibilities through ethics, and also having a viable professional or entrepreneur life for them to sustain in their lives. So these ideas kind of start going from middle school, then high school, obviously, because you have to apply for colleges, and then from colleges. So any advice, if you may, for a younger generation to understand how they can take all of this together and build a better life?
You know what? It's very interesting that every time I speak about this, it's the younger generation that they love me for what I tell. They say, Feroze, somebody has the courage to tell the truth. I mean, I got so many young people coming and saying, thank you for telling the truth. It's the others who are sometimes like, you're telling something and they make me a little uncomfortable. And the reason is because data shows that the younger people are disillusioned by a lot of what we have built for them. There's enough data to show that. And that's what I said, we can't exempt ourselves from the consequences of what we have built. Because they're saying, I don't want to live in this stressful world which we guys are living them with. They're the ones who are saying, I would prefer arts more than technology. I can tell you, most of the children of technologists don't want to be in technology. And the only reason they want to be is just to make money, not because they love it, right? So I think we have to be a little bit more truthful to ourselves. And really, I say this with absolute understanding that technology is important. I'm not somebody who's anti-technology. As I said, I've spent my whole life in technology. So I understand the power of technology. I think we just have to understand and careful and thoughtful and be nuanced about it. As I said, I think the biggest use of AI would be in healthcare, without a doubt. So can we be cautious enough to use it for the right reasons and balance it out by, kind of slowing it down for the other places? In fact, when Yuval Harari's speech I was attending last week at San Francisco, and everybody was asking, it's like, what is the solution to all of this? He said, slow down. And the problem is nobody wants to slow down, because if you slow down, they say, oh, my competition is not going to slow down. So I really don't know what does the future look like, because everybody is on the is accelerating. And if everybody accelerates, it will eventually crash. That's just the way of laws of nature. How do you slow down? Because human beings are not used to this level of speed. Machine can speed because they don't get tired. Human beings get tired. So we have to slow down, right? I can't work 24 hours a day. A machine can. So I think maybe that's the approach, but I don't know if it is possible. I mean, that's what I see today, because we live in a capitalistic world. If you slow down, somebody else will accelerate. So as I said, I don't know the answers, but I hope I can raise some questions.
Absolutely, it's very important to raise those questions. And I think on that note, I think humanity has progressed and thrived on the hope. And we all hope that we'll make something better out of these emerging technologies.
Absolutely. I mean, see, I'm a very hopeful person. Humanity has always done the right things, and you will see that the best of humanity arises in the worst of times. And we saw this, the world saw it during COVID times. The fact that we have never had a nuclear war since 1945 is an indication that human beings can have their own judgments and do the right stuff. And I'm very hopeful that people, if they come together for the betterment of all of us, we can do the hard stuff. I am a great believer in human ingenuity, but I also say hope is not a course of action. Hope is a good thing, but somebody also has to act, right? But I'm sure this is a bunch of incredibly smart people, so they will figure it out.
All right. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Such a joy.